Good morning. We finally made it to the end of the week. It's a chilly Friday, but we are excited because, hey, the weekend has landed. Good morning and welcome to Smell the Coffee, your favorite breakfast show, the only show, in my opinion, that goes very well with your cup of Joe. I'm your host, Glenora Shipura, and of course, we do have a jam-packed show just for you, taking a look at what's happening in the internet streets, to a very interesting story about the Ryan airline, and also we get into an interesting conversation with a multi-talented artist. Of course, it isn't Smell the Coffee if we don't start with my favorite segment, which is the Reels of the Day segment. Let's take a look.
The word queue is ironic. It's just a queue sitting there with a bunch of silent letters waiting in a queue. They're just waiting for their turn. You know, like, they're going to get to me in a minute. I'm going to say my name. I'm going to say E. No. Q took it all. Q took it all.
I like whatever is wrong with her, because she went and said by herself and said, hey, isn't it ironic, the word Q? Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of silent letters waiting on the letter Q. Yeah, so maybe a petition needs to be signed, hey, that the other letters need to be pronounced. I think I remember when I used to see the word Q, I used to say Q-way. That was my attempt to pronounce the other letters. But also English is such an interesting language. Like, why give me so many letters if I'm not going to pronounce them? Why did they even bother showing up? I think Q could have just been Q and a W. Like, really? Like, why so many letters? I think the same can also be said about check. Okay, but with check, you can also hear, you know, another thing being pronounced. But why is it not checkwe? Because it's spelled like that. It's just check, like, yeah, English. Yeah, you give us, the people that have it as a second language, a difficulty, because it's just like, wait, what? Why am I saying it like this and not like that? But it is what it is. Let's take a look at the next one. I've actually stopped ironing my clothes because of this same exact issue. So I either do it like on the weekend and I'm, you know, doing laundry. But usually it's just somebody that comes in and just irons, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know I left it. I unplugged it. But then you go back and like, no, but am I sure that I unplugged it? I will drive back home. Like, if I can be 5 minutes away and I'll drive back home just to go make sure that, hey, I unplugged it. It's not plugged in. So that's literally me every day. Like, did I leave that thing on? Is it still on? Hopefully it's not on. Yeah. So if I'm not responding, that's literally what I'm doing. Let's take a look at the next one.
I was a host and you led me to water, I'd also be wondering, like, why did you bring me here? Because first of all, you didn't even ask me if I was thirsty. You just brought me here. You actually can't make me drink this. I feel like you don't even listen to me. You don't care about my perspective. Mind you, you're not even drinking the water yourself. Now I must just drink to perform for you. No. You know, what if I already drank before you brought me here? And I have a specific type of water that I like. I like sparkling. I don't like sparkling. But you would never know. I just feel so unheard. Like, don't bring me here no more.
I don't know how to feel about this one. He has a point. Okay, great. I think anybody doesn't want to be told, hey, here, have some water. You know what I mean? Like, who said I want water? Maybe I want a Coke or sparkling water, what have you. But also, that's the main point of the saying. You can take a horse to water, but it won't drink. It's up to the horse to drink the water. So what ultimately the saying means is, you can try to help somebody, but if they don't want to help themselves, they're not gonna, do it. So that's the point. I get what he's being very funny, but that's literally the point. Like, as much as anybody's trying to help me, if I'm not willing to help myself, there's nothing that anyone else can do. And I think that can also just be the word of the day for today. Like, you can try to help somebody as much as you want, but if that person doesn't want to be helped, I'm sorry. Like, you can do everything. If they don't want to be helped, they're not going to get help. So it's ultimately up to the individual themselves if they want the help. All right. That concludes our Reels of the Day segment. On the other side of this, we take a look at what's happening in our top stories.
We bring you luxury, lifestyle and location. My.NA Property takes you inside Namibia's most stunning homes, high-end developments and hidden gems. Catch us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. because every space...
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises. From artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Some people say the one thing that they love about airports is the lawlessness of the airport. You can take a nap any time of day, in a random place. You can also drink alcohol at any time of the day. But some people are saying maybe that's not such a good idea. If you're someone who enjoys starting your holiday with a cheeky drink at the airport before an early morning flight, Ryan's Air boss says that tradition should come to an end. The airline's outspoken CEO, Michael O'Leary, wants airports to stop serving alcohol before early morning departures, saying too many drunk passengers are causing problems in the skies. He says he simply doesn't understand why airport bars are serving alcohol at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, asking who needs to be drinking beer at that time. Unlike regular bars, airport bars in the UK aren't restricted by normal alcohol trading hours, and O'Leary believes that should change. He's also calling for a 2-drink limit at airports, similar to what Ryanair already enforces on many of its flights. Now, according to him, airlines are being left to deal with passengers who have had far too much to drink while waiting for delayed flights. And it's not just an inconvenience. Being drunk on an aircraft is actually a criminal offense and can lead to fines of up to £5,000 or even 2 years in prison. Ryanair has also started taking legal action against disruptive passengers. In one case, the airline sued a passenger for €15,000 after their behavior forced a flight from Dublin to Lanzarote to divert. So what do you think? Should airports stop serving alcohol before early morning flights, or is that pre-flight pint all part of the holiday experience? I would say it's all part of the holiday experience. But they do have a point. You do get people that can be very disruptive when they are drunk on the planes. So I myself have never had to encounter such an experience with a passenger who's, you know, very drunk and they're causing a problem, and which might even maybe delay the flight or what have you, or cause the flight rather to turn around. So I've never experienced the extremities of it, but I do enjoy, like, you know, a nice glass of something, especially if it's a long flight. But then everybody has their own preferences. So I don't know how this is gonna, you know, pan out, because a lot of people do enjoy the fact that you can go to the airport, you can have your nice glass of Merlot or whatever you want at any time that you want to have it. That's the beauty of, you know, traveling. And yeah, so I'm a traveler, and I love to be able to enjoy myself. But I also understand where the Ryanair boss is coming from, because some of these things can really, some people rather, can be very disruptive. So maybe it could be a thing of we're allowed to have maybe alcohol at the airport, but just maybe 2 glasses per person. I think that might be fair, but you guys let us know in the comment section, should that law also apply here in Namibia or in Africa in general, like where you are not allowed to have alcohol at certain times at the airport. So do let us know in the comments section on our social media pages. Up next, we have an interesting conversation with X, who is a multidisciplinary artist, and he shows us what he has in store for us. Let's have a look. I'm joined in studio by a visionary artist, someone who has worn many hats and always wants to show up as authentic as possible to every project. Good morning, X. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing, Glenora?
I'm quite excited to have you in studio. I'm quite excited to have this conversation early on in the year, because you're one of the artists that I always look out for in terms of just the work that you're doing. And everything that you do is, you know, always inspiring, and you're always pushing yourself to the next limit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So how has the year 2026 been? I know it's quite early, but how has it been so far as an artist?
As an artist so far, in an individual capacity, I think 2026 looks very promising. Again, I always like to say this. I feel like there's a new temperature in the art industry, in the creative industry, and myself as an artist, there's a lot that you can plan for. There's a lot that sounds exciting, that sounds like it's going to, you know, sort of flourish. So again, like you said, it's very early on in the year, so you can't say too much. You don't want to jinx things that you have planned, but there's a positive start to it individually. But you know, the world doesn't look very bright at the moment. So there's obviously that thing of like trying to balance reality with your optimism, you know? So
speaking of that, and also how artists need to be a voice or the mirror to where society is, or the reflection of the times. I've seen most of your work, and it really does that. Your last play, you were, you know, tackling quite a few heavy themes, but it was also inspired because this is, you know, what I see in the community, and I'm just reflecting the times. How important is that for you as an artist to always, you know, hold up the mirror to society?
I think that's the role of every artist, actually. In fact, everyone that has, even if you're not an artist as a profession, if you have a sketch pad at home, it's important for you to reflect what it is that inhibits you internally, and whatever you see as going on in the world around you, because that's how you preserve who you are, and that's how you preserve, let's say, the national identity of a country. It's by creating the art that reflects that. It's been quite a journey, trying to really find my footing in expressing what, because it's very difficult to be honest as an artist, especially when you start commercializing your art. You want to meet the standard, the status quo, whatever is popular, whatever is trending, and most of the time things that are reflective of society. People don't want to consume substance anymore. you know, we live in a world, the digital era or whatever, but we live in a world where it's so easy to consume things, you know, it's like, you just scroll, it's just art even on social media. So creating art that challenges, that makes people think critically about the world around them, about themselves, it's important, and I think it's the role of every artist to some degree. Even if you make abstract art, you need art that makes people think about themselves and about the world they live in, essentially.
I love that. I love that. And you did speak on trends as well, and how it's important to try to be as authentic as possible, but still, you know, be in the know of the trends that are happening. What kind of trends are you seeing right now, or trends that we might be heading into in the industry?
So, with let me start with artists have become independent curators and creators now, especially with the advent and the promise of, you know, the internet era and the technologies like AI and AR and VR and all these new technologies that are driving what it means to be an artist in a completely new direction. And it's trending also, of course. I mean, we saw, like, with the advent of social media, it became much more easier to sort of disseminate your art globally, because you are in charge of it. You are in charge of distribution, because, you know, the internet platforms and social media platforms made that possible. So it has when was the internet introduced? Like early 2000s. So now in 2026, you know, it's taken a level that is
where you can be a business on your own, and you don't need all these other factors or agents and
people outside of
record labels and whatnot. It also removes a level of, I'm not saying all record labels are bad, but or companies per se that house and manage artists are bad, but there were issues in the past where you hear stories of, like, artists, I mean, I sold how many millions of albums or books, what have you, but I didn't make so much money from it because of the contracts I signed.
So there's that sense of, like, independence, of being drawn away as an individual artist, being drawn away from institutions, and being able to own your art, own your work, direct the channel in which it flows, things like that.
And also own your voice as well.
Own your voice as well.
Very important, which is, I've seen quite a few artists blow up just on social media. And I don't see them, like, being signed on to anybody, but you can see that they have, like, millions of views on YouTube, and they are doing their own thing, which is very nice and holistic.
They themselves become the brand, the entity, the company. You know, as an individual artist, you become the institution that sort of produces the work that you create as an artist.
Do you think that this new trend, especially the use of social media, is good news for Namibian artists? Because there's always been that notion that, if you're an artist in Namibia, you're just going to suffer, you're going to starve. So do you think that this is a platform for us as artists to, you know, get on and, you know, just see where it goes?
I can answer that in two ways. One, it's not just social media, but other technologies, like we said now, the new trends that are happening, artificial intelligence and so forth. I think there's two ideas that you can have to it, like a positivist one and a negativist one. One, the Namibian industry, the creative arts industry, like I said, you know, it's only now with with the administration of the current president where we see some kind of recognition and true appreciation and acknowledgement of the importance of art, and trying to, you know, distribute resources to build the industry. But then it also comes at a point where like the technology is so advanced to the point where you don't have it's in let's say in first world countries, creative industries are being threatened by our own creations, by technology. You don't need a whole set to create a film. You don't need a director, producer, writer. You just need AI. You just need AI and a producer. Because script writing,
which is a bit sad.
You know.
Yes.
So if that same reality sort of presented onto Namibia in this, it's not in the early stages. I mean, the art industry has been around. You know, we have had artists for decades since our independence, but in my experience, having conversations with people that are sort of the veterans of the art industry in Namibia, the older filmmakers, the older cultural practitioners, I always sense a bit of like a sense of not regret, like spitefulness. Like, why only now? Like, we're old, we're about to retire, and
And
only
now it's
now,
just starting to pick up.
you know, it's only starting to pick up now, and you see it, it's very palpable when you enter rooms where people are having conversation on trying to formulate policies around the art creative industries. You know, the older people always seem to be a little bit more, you know, frustrated for the fact because they're about to retire. And then there's an idea that my generation, Gen Z, doesn't really understand the importance of art to a society, because again, everything is so cheap and so easy to make, and you can create a Mona Lisa with a prompt, you know, like the process of
Writing, even academically, you can see that the time it used to take to study for something and what have you, you know, I have to read a whole textbook. Now I can just put a prompt, please summarize, I'm doing a test and this is what we're going to focus. Summarize the most important things that I need to know about this, and that's it. And then I go and write the test and I pass. But I have not sat down and you know, consumed a work of somebody, a body of work. Do you get it? It's just snippets of it. And yeah, I hear what you're saying. So the world is moving to that. Speaking of AI and the creative industry, we're seeing more and more writers, musicians, what have you, are using AIs. And there is a positive to it. I've listened to some music or musicians who've used AI.
Oh, okay. I thought you said I thought you were going to say AI artists.
Yeah, not AI artists. They would, let's say, I don't have a producer, so AI does my producing for me. And I can see how it helps, especially when you're starting out and you don't have the money to pay for a producer, what have you. So there's this guy that I'm following on social media. He used AI to create his beats, but the vocals is his, which I have to say I respect him for that. And I love that that's the direction he's going for, because it's quite expensive, especially if you're starting out. But at the same time, it takes away from the human touch.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of it all. AI can do incredible things. It can make work so much more effective, so much more efficient, so much more convenient and easier to do in any industry. You know, especially in the arts. But then it takes away from that human touch.
Yeah.
And so, let's say I'm a bit of a negativist. Maybe I've watched too much
Black Mirror.
Futuristic sci-fi films about AI taking over the world or whatever. The first thing as an artist that I would fear is that instead of thinking about robotics, we won't be able to do anything. You have an AI that's cleaning your room, your house. You have an AI that drives, or you take a robot or whatever, electric car, whatever, that drives your kids to school. You don't have to go anywhere and do anything, because you have created these technologies that can do everything for us, and then humans basically just become people that eat and sleep, consume. The perfect utopia of AI and technology. But what would that mean for art? That means nothing that we consume is created by the hands of a human. You watch a movie, a film, it's generated. You see a painting, it's generated. You listen to music, it's generated. It's written, it's produced, everything, all the elements that goes into making music. So I do respect people that are trying to move with the time, artists that are trying to move with the times, like the person you mentioned that would make a beat with AI but still put their own vocals. But at one point, someone else is going to realize, no, it's easier to just also let AI generate my voice. Let me record my voice. And then at one point, we don't have any original art or anymore. Human art with human touch to it. And I like to quote, it's a German philosopher, I don't know if you know him, but Friedrich Nietzsche. I know you like philosophy.
I know him. Of course I'll know him.
Yeah. And he had this idea that in order for humans, the point of being alive on this earth as a human being is to sort of struggle. And if you're going to project that into your art, AI doesn't have struggle. It's just analyzes.
There's no human soul to it.
Exactly.
A human touch brings the endurance, the suffering, the joy, what have you, and that's what make it so unique and palpable to everybody
Yeah.
else. So I definitely agree with that. Now, X, we really, got carried away, and you and I will always, have long conversations.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to have you in studio to divulge some of this thoughts, and just also open our minds to just like, okay, this might be cool, but what does it mean in the long term for society and for us as artists as well? So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Solve X, and yeah, this is a very beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much. All right, with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, same time, same place.